Hello, good evening, and a very warm welcome to Rangers Radio. Well, hello, good evening, welcome to Rangers Radio. Join myself, Oxshire, on the show this evening. It's Port Bear and GB. Evening, Port.
Evening, Oxshire. Evening, GB. How are you doing, boys?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. How's GB?
Oh, good, Oxshire. Nice to be back on with you boys tonight.
Yes. Right, okay, you two boys have to be on. You've been lucky. He's picked a Thursday night, a 4 away for Sunday. A different mood in the camp in a week, mate, but it's time to park it and move on. Port Bear.
Even been where we are in the week, Oxshire, this Thursday, previously I was on the show, I'd built up, I'd bought into, the trip to Marbella, the training camp, a good time on pitch with Danny Rowe to work with his team, and I just can't believe how lacklustre the performance was, mate. I was kind of shocked, upset, angry. I kept saying to myself, is this a team that want to win a league? Because all over the park, mate, we were second best. We were out Fox, but Danny Rowe was out Fox, but the Motherwell manager. I found we were getting overloaded again. It's a big thing we've spoken about on this show, and me and you in particular. Absolutely overran. Don't think Raskin knew it to be one of his poorest games in a long time. Chukwani was all over the place. I just felt we were ran ragged, and Motherwell's tactics with our manager, mate, out Fox, Danny Rowe, and we were beaten convincingly, mate. But like I also said, there's a lot of twists and turns I feel will happen. I still think there'll be points strapped, from the top three. I think this is, again, white flags not for Port Bear. I think there'll be points dropped.
I get that.
Yeah.
But it was the start, Port. The start was so frustrating and so poor. We didn't keep the ball. We made wrong decisions. But as you say, we looked lacklustre. And they scored 2 goals. Obviously, they didn't have a lot of chances. But they were a better football team, and their playing maybe warranted 2 goals. So, no complaints with how the result went because of how we were playing. But we were poor, particularly for the first 35 minutes, GB.
Aye, Ox. It was too easy for Motherwell. It was a bit like a training game for them in a sense because they had nobody pressing them at all. See, when they 2 goals, see me watching back that they had in the first half. It was nice sprayed balls across to their players. Nobody putting pressure on them to make a mistake. And they had all the time in the world to make the perfect pass. And let's face it, we've seen Motherwell this season that they can finish, mate. So as soon as we gave them chances to do it, they put the ball in the back of the net, mate. That's where I was surprised. Usually, let's say somebody's taking one for the team or something like that, and they kind of build-ups. But we just allowed them to play, mate, and put the ball into. That first goal, the boy just kept strolling. Don't get me wrong, he had a wee bit of a break of the ball, but he finished it well. And then that second one, again, it's put it wide and they just put it straight.
I still think Butland should have saved it, mate. I really do, mate.
Oh, I mean, we've got to do better, Ox. I agree, mate. But I'm saying he's hot it clean, and he's obviously been able to put them in the back of the net. But that second one as well, again, we just spray at the back of the board. Nobody on the guy, and he just rockets it into the back of the net, and he thinks he's messy, man, when he's run away with celebration. So, to be fair, like, it is what it is. I kind of expected a day like that, Ox. I've been probably Mr. Negative. Not so much wishing for Rangers to ever lose a game or anything like that, but there's always been that gut feeling this season that we've just not got that extra 10% to get out of the line. And that's when I seen what happened. And then when we go back into the game, Ox, I was like, I was like you last night, what you're saying, we've got to get back into this and win this game. And it'll just be like a mad kind of season. But when Motherwell ended up finishing his half, I was kind of like, well, to be honest, am I surprised? No, really, no, because we have got this in us that we do these mad things, and then we go and like we've done before, we go end up going and hammering Hearts. I mean, it's just we're so up and down as a team, and that's what's always gives me the fear.
We've also got to give Motherwell a bit of credit. They've actually arguably been the best football team in the league this season. I don't think many people would argue with that, Port. But it's like football. It's when you lose games, when you score goals. And to lose 3 goals at home in a game we want to win, it's poor, Port.
If you take into consideration the goals we lost at Falkirk as well, and then another three. Another 3. You know, that's concerning. That's no championship winning material. I mean, you think back to the first goal last year. Why is the fullback, Sterling, who I praise a lot, right? Why is he letting him come in on his inside? That guy's only got one thing in his mind, and that's to kill that in that bottom corner. Why is Sterling not sure I'm doing the line? It's not what we expect with Sterling, by the way, because when it comes to one-on-one defending, he's the best defender we've got at the club. I don't think many people would argue on that. But as soon as he lets him come on his right, you know, it's all for the attacker. Then he's got that full side of goal, you know, to aim at, and he's curled it into that back corner, mate. You know, that to me is where it all stems from. And then the second goal, you're watching Diamande trotting back, not breaking his neck, trotting back to try and stop, that counter attack. And it almost looked at times, guys, agree with me. It almost looked like every time Motherwell broke on us, it looked like they were possibly going to score. That's the way I felt. You know what I mean? And that's not the way. That's definitely what I expect for a Rangers side, mate. That's going to go and clinch this title. You know, we get you get 2 glorious moments for Jermaine. You know, his 2 goals, in particular the one it takes to sort of be dragged back through his legs. And we get back into Oxford, and that's a wonderful goal. That's a great touch, and he's put it away. But we just looked vulnerable Oxford, and we're losing far too many goals, and that can't happen. That's got to be eradicated. What's happening with our set piece coach, with defensive coach? What is going on? Because at one point we had one of the best records, for conceding in the league, and all of a sudden now over the last 2 games we've conceded 6. It's just, for me, mate, that's not the good credentials to see a title, mate.
Losing goals makes it hard to win. It's simple. You can't keep coming for 2-0 down. You're going to
you can't give him a start.
What's happened to us, that's Livingston in the last few weeks. GB, I don't want to labour the point, but Livingston, Falkirk, and then Motherwell. So you can't keep going, and we get caught. Let's be honest, we get caught with a sucker punch, as Albert said last night, trying to win the game. Yeah.
Aye, Ox. Yep, that's the thing. Like you says, it's been coming. Like I says, it's been there in the background, and you are in the hope that we're just going to keep grinding it out, kind of thing. We're just going to keep coming back and just being that kind of silly team at times. I mean, but I think, to be honest, I was actually really surprised that we conceded the 3rd goal, because I felt as though that we were on the ascendancy in that. But at the time when we got the 2 goals, I did think we were going to get the 3rd, mate, to be honest. So I can't really criticise them too much, because we did look good. We allowed that breakaway, and they were just looking for one of our players, Ox, just to break up that moment for them. You know what I mean? Just when the boy gets in the box, I think it was Diamande that fell on his backside because the boy done him. in the box, and you're just like it's so easy. It was so easy just to turn them inside out and then bang right in the back of the net, and it's just not good enough. And I think you just touched on it, Ox.
The third goal.
Aye, third goal. Aye,
It was the Giga.
or the Gia. Sorry.
Yeah, it was the Giga.
But he's running all the way back.
I couldn't understand. I couldn't understand his that's sometimes where inexperience comes in, Porter, when he just kept backing off and backing off. I mean, you start backing off and somebody's running, they've always got the move on the airport.
That's what I'm saying. And as soon as you look at step one of the strong fit, which again he did, and somebody's got to make a decision as well. Butland and the Giga's got to make a decision. Who's taking the ball, and with the deflection, it's taking it right out of Butland's hands, and it looks like a foolish goal because it looks like we're unorganised, we're not talking to each other. But as I said, mate, as soon as you let an attacking player get out and he's strong fit and he's inside you, you are in big trouble, mate. You're in big trouble. You're asking for absolute, because he broke on his laid the numbers forward. And that boy who scored against us in the first game of the league season gets 2 at Ibrox as well, mate. You know what I mean? And it's just it's a travesty, mate. It hurt me so badly because I thought, right, 5 games to go. And do you know what I felt, Ox? See if we'd have bet Motherwell and we bet Hearts the next, I was actually feeling it was more or less over the line because we only ended a draw against that mob.
Well, you know what they
and
call
thought,
that, mate? That's counting their chickens before the.
I know,
But,
mate.
There we go. It didn't pan out, but look, all's not lost. Yeah.
No, I follow it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're going to win the next 4 games. GB, it's as simple as that, isn't it?
Aye, Ox, that's it. It's back to the drawing board, and we go for it again. And to be honest, Ox, the way we are, it wouldn't surprise me. We go and win the next 2 games, and it puts us in a better position again. It's just the next couple of games after that again, Ox. That's the worry. You know what I mean? We've got a shaky nail in us, and I think that, like you have touched on before, mate, maybe the recruitment side, once we get a couple of more bodies in, that'll help.
What you basing the shaky nail on? Because we're formed since Danny Rowe comes in. It's pretty much championship winning form, mate. But it's just when we've let ourselves down, mate. We've had draws and we've lost. Under him, we've lost 2 games. And the second one was sore. Yeah, it was sore because of when it was, mate.
Aye, no, I mean the Motherwell away and the Hibs away and the Livingston away. Falkirk again shaky but came back well, and then obviously Motherwell there that again we get back into the game and then we fail at the last minute again. That's where the shaky nail is in the team. So can we go and grab these 4 wins? That's what I'm saying. The maddening thing is, I think against like say Hearts and Celtic, I think we can grab wins against them. It's the other ones that we seem to be a bit more shaky on.
Aye, there's a lot missing. You can talk about the players, and and we talked about it last night. Port, we maybe are a couple of players missing from our squad, but then there's 2 good players out in the Derry and Romans, mate. And if I'm honest, I think we missed the 2 of them, mate.
I think you're 100% right. Romans had nailed down the left back position. Adds a lot of our defence, adds a lot of going forward. I mean, quite a good quality player. And Big Nadiri was getting his starting to find the back of the net, a big threat. So effectively you've lost, 2 of your probably first team starters at the weekend. If I'm, I think they would definitely have started to fill up at them too. So we're definitely short of a few Oxford. We're definitely short of a couple. And maybe that couple has to be guys, that are ready to hit the ground running. Trying to think. A team that I'll give an example, mate. I'm going to use Man City as an example. they went out and bought the boy Yehi for Crystal Palace and the boy Semenyo from Bournemouth. And sometimes you need a couple of players like that just to kick you on, just to get you over the edge. Because if you remember back, Man City were struggling at that point. They were really struggling to find, an attacking sense, and they were really struggling in defence. So what did they go and do? They absolutely stole Gahey because he was a free transfer, and they managed to get Semenyo for 65 million, which is cheap in terms of English football. But it was the players needed Oxford to close the gap against Arsenal and get them back up to the top of that league, and it worked. And we did it. We did do that with Romans and the Dairy, but I still think we were one short. Still one short. And I know a lot of people probably sick of hearing this, but maybe Shankman would have been the guy. Maybe even Braga would have been the guy. Just go and get them. Just go and sign them. You know what I mean? That would have just seen us over the edge. But
It's
as it
going
is,
to
mate,
happen, Paul. You've got to be realistic.
we are. Yeah, no, I know that, but
Yeah.
I'm talking in hindsight.
We're going to have to get him. That wasn't going to happen. You've got to be realistic in your claims. They were gone for the league. They're under contract, mate. That's when they said, you can have them. We want 10 million for the two of them. Yeah, it wasn't going. That's not going to happen, mate. They're in the driving seat. I don't know the situation with Braga. If you wanted Shankland because I got him for nothing, and we never got him. Yeah.
No, we had a chance with him.
The ship sailed. No.
Yeah.
No, but we can argue about it all day long. Is it a mistake? It looks like it. It would have been maybe the Rangers number 9 every game. Maybe no, but would have been a good asset. Considering his wages wouldn't have been massive. Aye, of course. Because we did look short. One striker injured, and we wanted to play with the two. And I thought the boys put a bit of energy in the first half. GB without being fantastic, but with no other striker on the bench. And with 15 minutes to go, I think Big made he'd run his race.
Aye. And it's just again, like you just keep saying, Ox. It's just the timing of these things, timing of the injuries, the timing of some of our signings not turning up as well, Ox. I mean, I know Asgard sometimes put us out a hole, but like even Scott Olsen as well. You're just hoping that they two had a bit of form at this time of the season, Ox. I mean, two creative players. You just want them to. They're the kind of players to get you over the line. I mean, I do think we've got enough bodies to win a league, but it's just we don't seem to have the luck sometimes that we have the players that just come in and they can just get that last minute goal for us, or let's say that even the first half when Asgard had that chance, that kind of free kick stuff like that. It's just sometimes the rub of the blue where that ricochets and goes into the back of the net and bang, you're 1-1 again or 2-1. I mean, so it's just sometimes I think it's the luck's always against us a lot of the time. But
I think you make
we do probably need.
I think the football part, in a close game, the bounce of the ball can, but you make your own luck as well. You've got to defend properly, i.e. first 2 goals, and you've got to take your chances. The mid part of the second half, mate, with a chance to put the game to bed, and we never done it. What? GB.
That says again, and even we had a chance as well to get snatch a draw. I mean, and it would have probably been, it would have eased the blow a wee bit as well. But to be honest, I've got nothing. Like, I think Jamaica had done his job, Box. To be honest, I know he had the sitters and stuff like that, but to be honest, he goes back into the game, so he done his job at the weekend. Like you says, mate, it comes back to the defensive side in the midfield. I don't think they helped the team at all against Motherwell. So I think that kind of the faults lie there. And like you say, again, suspect goals between the defenders and our goalkeeper. Again, I think Jack has his moments. Again, like most players, Jack's like Asgard and all the rest of it. Like, they've got all the talent in the world to be fantastic players, but they just can't seem to do it week in, week out all the time. And like Asgard again, and I know Jack's turned up probably more than him, and he's been obviously got his award and all the rest of it, but you're just like, big moments, Ox, just to kind of keep the pressure off and let the team settle. You need players to step up, and I don't think enough of them do step up at the right time.
Well, it's just one game, mate. Up until Sunday, you couldn't throw it at them. You couldn't throw it at them, mate. Their run of form's been excellent. Yeah, there's
I
been
know, but
moments.
Oxford, I know we've had wins, but think about all the goals we're leaking as well. I mean, we can't say that we've just.
If we would have won 3-2, mate, we wouldn't be having these conversations. I mean, if we'd have scored the goal that Murrable scored, the minute he got so to go and won the game 3-2, it'd have been the same performance, and we would have been saying that's the way you win the league. The goals you lost, they make it hard for yourself, and I'm contradicting myself a bit here, but it doesn't matter if you win. Are you with us, Port?
Aye, yep. You know, we always said that Walter Smith made a career of winning 1-0 metre, getting late goals. But the thing that irks me the most is it's the start of next year. You can't give these teams any incentive to go and, you know, be dominant at Ibrox or be dominant at their home pitch by giving them 2-goal starts next year. You're just climbing the hill right away, and then the teams you're all arguing with each other. You're all turning around and saying, where's that coming from? Defence got the blame. Stirling probably got blamed for the first goal. Giga and Butland probably not communicating, probably can blame them for the second goal. I don't know, mate. Am I being too harsh to Danny Rowe? Not realise that we're getting overrun in midfield at times. The boy Slattery, the boy Watt, even the boy Just. The boy Just was just coming back on in the number 10 position, and I think our two centre halves didn't have a clue who to pick them up. And then Chukwani and Raskin, one was sitting at times, one was going at times, and then Just was getting left. He was playing between the lines, so he was doing a lot of link-up play, getting the ball wide, and Motherwell put some stunning balls in, mate, along that 6-yard box, and they looked dangerous every time he done that. But it was if Danny Rowe didn't see that danger, mate. I'm sitting screaming at the TV, and I'm sitting, who's Martin Just? Who? Everyone's coming through this guy, and then as I said, Slattery and Watt are just getting the run in the midfield, and Raskin's too far forward at times. Chukwani's at the right, he's at the left, he's nowhere near the central. So why did Danny Rowe not say to him to you two get in and just match up? Just match up. Get Raskin to sit on this boy Just, drag Asgard back and get two in the midfield and just shore up the midfield and match him man for man next year. I don't see, any harm in going man for man when we're getting ran over. And maybe this conversation, Ox, mate, you know this. We're getting overrun at times in midfield and our manager's not reacting to it. And I hate criticising him because I'm proud of the job he's done. I'm proud of where he's got his back. But there's just sometimes it's the old adage in it. You need to learn from your mistakes, and there's far too many times, Oxford. I don't know if you two guys agree, but we get found wanting midfield and we're overrun. We don't react. If we're against a 3, we stick to a 2. And sometimes we're on a 3 and we've got players all over the place, and it's 1 against 3 in there. Oxford, you're never going to win games if that's the case.
Well, the stats don't bear that out, mate. The stats tell you he's won rates one of the best Rangers manager.
Yeah, since he's come in, that's fact.
Yeah,
that's fact.
But I get your point, mate. But look, I understand there's flaws in every football system, right? You know that, I know that, yeah. The ball dictates and how you're playing, yeah. And don't assume Danny Rowe wasn't trying to get a message on him. You know what players are like, and you know when managers do their work, Port. Yeah, you know, and I know when they do their work. It's half time, and Danny Rowe's record at half time is pretty good. GB, changing games and getting us going. My criticism, as I said last night, is we're not winning 2 halves and we're not starting games well. So there's something wrong there, mate, because it's happened too often. The last game we started again well, and we played really well. We were 2-0 up against them at half time and should have maybe scored more. And that's when we should have done it. But again, we never won the two halves. And you've got to do that, and you'll constantly win more games of football if you win, obviously. I'm stating the obvious. You win two halves, you win any game. But that's your aim. That should be your aim. If you win the first half, not be poor in the first half. Win it.
Aye, like you says, Ox, like it's hard. Like I'm definitely like backing the manager. I think the manager's done a fantastic job and stuff like that. But I think I agree with Porter. It's just that kind of way at times with him that he's. The folk have said about learning from the mistakes and stuff like that, and there you've pointed out, Ox, about the two half thing. That's been lingering on, and we've been getting by. And it's the same with the conceding goals. We've dug ourselves out a hole, and we've been getting by. But the gravy train eventually stops, Ox, and this is what I've always felt with the team, that we'll ride that train so long, and eventually then it'll come back to bite us. And I do feel as though we're better than the other two in front. The other two that we're challenging against, and it'll be an absolute annoyance if we don't get this early line, because I do feel we're better than where we're sitting now.
But we've made it hard for
ourselves all the time.
And that's the frustration for Sunday. Right, gentlemen, we better get these phone lines open, yes?
Certainly. Yep, certainly.
Let's hear from you.
Hello, good evening, and a very warm welcome to
Well, come and join us, 0141 356 1972. Give us a ring and you'll get brought in the calls. Good to hear for you. Right, look, we have to park it, mate. We're going to have to move on. We've dissected it to death. We're now in day 4. We're all back on the solids. I think even Fox had a cream cake today, so he's feeling a wee bit better, you know. So, look, we're there, wherever we are. We have to win on Monday night. What are you thinking about selection, personnel, Port Bear?
Don't want to be too harsh on Giga and Fernandez, mate. I did think earlier on about even a change of formation, and it was just to get Tab back into the team. And I thought, could Sterling play alongside Fernandez? That would allow Tab back into the team. I still don't know how far Robbins is away. Young boy Magoma, he got brought off and Sterling over that side, didn't he? So, but just for Sterling's recovery power, mate.
We don't know if Sterling's fit, mate.
Oh, right, okie dokie.
He might be,
right, so
mate, but he's half injured, didn't he?
He did. So the way it stands there at the moment, I think Tav, Giga, Fernandez, and I think you might see Magoma back over that left-hand side, mate. I think that's just to try and keep a bit of continuity, because Max Aaron's not done enough, mate, to warrant getting into the back 4. I'm sorry, but he's not. That's just not worked out at all. I would then like to see 2 in front of the back 4, mate. I'd like to see 2 sitting in front of the back 4, and that would be Chikwane and Raskin. Now, one thing that's written my knitting out about Raskin at the moment, mate, and I hate this. He's cheating and he's been lazy and he's hiding, mate. See that getting in beside the 2 centre backs? That's when he's leaving his midfield partner on his own, mate. So if he plays in a 2 and he plays in a 3, he's hiding. And this is not a criticism, Oxtear. This is just a factual thing that I've watched. He's going and splitting them 2 centre backs, and he's hiding in there. It's an easy place to hide and play a ball side to side. But he's leaving his mucker in the middle of the park, whether it be Chipway or whoever. on his own against sometimes 2 or 3. And then what's got to happen then is somebody whoever's playing the 10 position, which is usually Asgard, he's got to then come in to try and fill that space. Because your width's still coming from our fullbacks. And then you see Chermiti, 40 years for goal, because he's coming to get the ball, mate, because he's not getting the ball, he's not getting the service. So our formation, mate, our formation's causing problems. And Raskin, whether it's the instruction or whether it's not, if he's doing his own
just
thing.
use your 11. We can dissect it in a minute once we get your
Right,
personnel.
okay. So,
Yeah, I know it's a bad goal of the weekend, but I've got my work on Tuesday.
Aye. And then
Right.
on the left, depending on Moore's fitness, I would start Moore, mate, and then you can take him off. On the right, I'd probably just go with Gassama again, mate, and then I would go with obviously Miovski and Chermiti up front, mate.
So you play pretty much the exact same shape as the weekend, yeah?
Aye, more or less. But as I said to you, as I've explained earlier on, I would have a more stringent instruction for that formation, mate.
Right, what you thinking, GB? You're starting 11. We'll come back to you, Pop, with your thoughts and who you and why. But just your 11.
Aye,
GB.
please, mate. Aye, sorry about
That's all right, mate. GB.
I think that, well, the hope is that Romans is fit, so it'll be Butland. I think Sterling's going to be injured. He's built like Weetabix half the time, so it's probably going to be Tav, Giga, Fernandez, Romans, Raskin, Chuchi. Probably Asgard will probably start again, and then I would probably go Moore, Scott Wolfson if he's fit, and
Based on what, if you don't mind me asking?
I think, see, the last time we played Hearts with him, I felt he had a right good game. I think he grew into the game, and that, let's say, the cross that he put in.
You're going to have to dig out the highlights. I know he put the cross in for the heater, but you're going to have to dig out the highlights and send them to me because I must have missed it.
I just think that is we've not got a proper a right winger, Rocks, and I think
The GB position.
I
I
think
should have seen the Mrs. GB position.
the cuddle. I think I see if you fire probably Moore could probably do the right side right, but every time we put Gassam out there, he stinks to place it. So I think we've got to give him the left if we're looking for what I say something out of him. And like I say, Scott Olsen, I still can't buy that the boys not got to give something special before the end of the season. So if he's fit, he's got to.
He was on the bench at the weekend. He was on the bench at the weekend and never got on, mate.
I know that, and again, that's Ox. It could be a criticism of the manager as well with that. You mean at the end of the day, like go to roll the dice. You said about like there's no fit striker. Well, we've got a guy there who's played in Champions League and all the rest of it, Ox. Like,
doesn't mean he's good, GB.
No, I know, but it says when we've ran a race, Ox, and we're just trying to get the winner. It would just be good to see it rather than folk have said put Barn on. Don't know if we put Barn on just to kind of shore it up a bit, but again, I don't know. You've bought him into to be that player, ain't you? So
you
why?
Just have to let it go, mate. After this weekend, there's 3 games to go. I don't know if we'll see Scott Wilson maybe much on the pitch, mate. He's been a major disappointment to me, and his lack of pace and his lack of desire is always for what you see. Yeah, he scored a goal. I think it was against Kilmarnock, if I remember right. He's also set up 2 goals for Chermiti that'll be out of this world with the crosses, but apart from that, he's offered next to zero, in my opinion. Port Bear.
I was a massive happy bear when we signed him, mate, because everything you said he's not got, whenever I watched him last year, prior to him going to Bruges and Wolfsburg, he had pace. He had blistering pace. He could go either way. He could cut in. That's why he didn't, even though he's left-footed, he didn't mind, going outside the player or inside the player. Scored plenty of goals coming out of his left foot and kill him at the top corner. I've seen enough of him, mate, to think we have got a player finally at a Rangers standard. But I'll tell you, mate, I've watched Motherwell quite a lot this season, even more so when we're playing against us. And there's a boy that would cost you maybe a couple of $100,000. He plays on the right side for Motherwell. Don't know if you've seen much of him or paid attention, boys, but it's the boy Elijah Just. If we can get him over the price tag that they're quoting for your man Scott Wilson, I know who I'm taking. I'm taking the boy Just. That boy looks a player. And again, it's pinching the players for the Scottish League, which we used to always do. So if it's down to the brass tacks and cash, you're probably surprised I'm saying this next year because I wanted the Scott Wilson and I didn't mind Rangers paying $9 million for him because I thought we're getting an international who can play Champions League proven player, and Gary says it, he has stunk the place out. He's showed me nothing. Like you said, I've not seen that pace. I've not seen him even going at a player. He doesn't look like a winger. He's so negative. He's come back and he'll pass it back to the fullback or he'll pass it inside. But he'll not even pass it Milwaukee's year. He's just, I don't know, mate. And I watched that boy just again because I know we've been linked with him and I watched him again at the weekend and I just thought, God, he's got pace. Australian international. He's got that wee bit of nastiness in him. He's a few tackles. One of the tackles actually was on Dujon Sterling and he went thundering into it with him. And I thought, I like that. Not only is he scared, to take on players, he's got an eye for a pass, and also he's not scared to get stuck in. So if it was a choice right now between them two, that's who I would take next year. The boy Just from Motherwell.
Wait, I get your point with the outside right position, if you like. GB, I get it. It has been, we did think that Scott Wilson was going to help us. And ultimately, he hasn't done a lot, but would you play him at that tight park at Tynecastle, mate? I wouldn't, mate. Honestly, seriously, I wouldn't.
Probably if they had form, you would. But the way, like you says, Hearts are playing now, they've got quite a solid back line. And I think they would, like you says, with the way the boy has been with his confidence and all that recently, I think he would disappear at the game box, probably. I mean, like I says, we probably need the flair. And we need, to be honest, we need Gassama and we need Moore to turn up and turn it on, turn the talent on.
I wouldn't start the two of them, mate. I wouldn't start the two of them. If he's 100% fit, I would start Mikey Moore and I would have the gas man on the bench, mate. And because you're doing that, you're maybe looking to change your shape. Yeah, I think we need another body in midfield. I think if we win the midfield, we win the game because we'll make chances and hopefully Big Chermity can score again. And that'll be is that 3 games in a row, is it? Is it 3 games in a row?
It would be, yeah.
Yeah. And he's starting to look, his form, his goal scoring, he's still an enigma, but his goal scoring in New Year's improved a lot than we would. I gave him the 2 goals. I didn't give the second goal to Raskin. I thought that it was going in, I think, and it just brushed off of Raskin and went in the goal. But then I would look to do that. I don't know if I would start Gasman, and I don't know if I'd start Scott Wilson, but it'd be good to hear what the people think. So I think Fox has got the jingle. So let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
So, can I ask you a question? So, Gary, you can come in this as well. So, rather than lose the midfield battle, are we better going with Barron for his legs, Chukwueze and Raskin? Now, I know Raskin wasn't great, his form wasn't great, but if we get Barron and Chukwueze to be the sitters and allow Raskin to get forward more, Could that be a possibility? So we don't get overrun in midfield. So there is always two in there that'll be fighting the battle. You know, and like I said, Raskin can drop deep at times if we're under the cosh, but he can also go and because he does prove himself a danger, mate, in the opposition's box. Is that a possibility? Would that be something you would like to see?
I've sort of thought about it. The problem we've got, if we tried to sort of play a 4-5-1 with two wide men supporting and then making that a 5 out of possession, then you go forward, you've got two sitters in there and you've got somebody with a free rein. Yeah, so that would give you Mikey Moore. That third body could be, in my opinion, you'd be better with Diamondi than Asgard. But that's just my opinion. I'm not the greatest lover of Asgard. Yeah. Would you be playing Diamondi on form? Arguably no. He was all right in the second half. He helped spark the revival. You know, then you're picking the team on based on the second half at the weekend, but you wouldn't be picking them on absolute form, Diamondi, because he's not been great all season. But it might be that. It might be that you bring in Barron and there's your three, and Raskin's got a freer role, and you're trying to get Chukwani forward, Big Tucci, and Barron's got to do the discipline role. Because Barron's not a creator. Don't get Albert started him trying to put in a cross, GB, because he's not the best. You've got the focal point, Chermiti up front, and everybody's trying to get rid of him as you go forward. But you're keeping it tighter than midday, and you're right, what you show more discipline. But people would then say that's a negative formation. No, if you go to sitter in there and two, and depending how you do it at times, you go forward, you can get 5 players in the box, yeah.
Aye, you know, and they take turns. They take turns, mate.
Aye.
You know what I mean? Whereas as you say, Barron remains a pivot. You know, it's I'd be expecting to get forward maybe Chukwani and Raskin, but Barron could remain that pivot in midfield where he sits and he plays that disciplined role. Because the wee fella's great at breaking up play, mate. That's the bit of his game. That's the bit of his game, definitely. That we all know he's best at, and he's engine. And I think if he plays in that pivot in that 6, it lets the two, in my opinion, the two better passers and the two better ball carriers get forward, because I really am starting to, really enjoy Chukwani. I think he's a great ball carrier, mate. He's got an eye for goal, likes to take ball in tight areas of the pitch, a wee bit like Diamandi, but he's a physical presence as well, Oxtear, which is a great asset in the box as well. So it was just an idea, mate. It was just an idea of what the float to you. Do you think we should go to Tynecastle a bit more disciplined, and
we've got to win the game.
Not be negative, but we've got to win the game, mate. That's it. That's the be all and end all.
I'm not playing a 4-5-1 defensive, if that makes sense. Yeah, you could argue it's a 4-3-3, but your wide men have got to work, GB. The wide men, if we're honest, at the weekend were stinking.
And to be fair, Ox, like again, our right back and left back again didn't really support. Look at what Romans had been doing for us. He was charging up that wing for us and getting back in these defensive duties, which was allowing the space for the winger to do what he needed today, which was create havoc. You mean it created that space, and that's what again we kind of lacked in that first half. But I probably agree with you. It's been the midfield. In all the games that we've kind of been shaking and we'll go back for it, the midfield's just not been there. You even touched on it, Ox, with the Old Firm game when we were 2-0 up. The midfield was fantastic that day. And like you says, that the wing play and all that was good as well. But you need the core, don't you? And the core kind of fell asleep on these halves. And that's where like it says, like say Motherwell, that they're just spraying the ball about. There's nobody. They've got that's what I noticed. They had all the time in the world to make the nice pass out wide and cut it in and stuff like that. And even the third goal when they're thrown it out, they had all the time in the world to bring the ball down, then break and run with it. Like, where is our midfield guys coming in and smashing? You know what I mean? So again, I think tactics has got to be something on the manager's mind, Ox. He's got to change something because he can't leave his own like that, or else. Like say a wee Braga grabbing the ball and putting it in the box. You mean
the third goal, mate? You know what? You're caught in a sucker punch when you're trying to win the game. That's no tactics, mate. That's just emotion. Everybody's playing with the heart then, not with the head. Yeah.
No, I know, but where was the midfield, you mean?
Because you're trying to win the game. You're playing with the heart. They're in the box for the cross, mate. They're in trying to get the goal. Barron gets the ball and puts the cross in. Doesn't quite get it right. The boy comes out and catches it, throws it, and within seconds, they're right on top of your centre half's in our half, because we're all in the box trying to win the game, mate.
But
Yeah, that's what happened. No, but in hindsight, you'd say, "I'll just sit in and see the game out." But if that cross comes in and Raskin he does it in, or he does it down to Chermiti or somebody and he puts it in, it's a brilliant cross. But that's no tactics at that time of the game, Port. That's emotion, isn't it? You're playing to win the game.
Aye, that goes right out the window, mate. When you're chasing, we got it back to 2 each, and regardless of what the manager tried to tell you today, where he's saying, "No, just keep the point. He put the points better than nothing." Rangers clearly want to win the league, and they went and tried to get that third goal, and we're caught in the counter, mate. We're caught in the counter. That's exactly what happened, and that happens game after game after game. Where you're fighting to stay in the league, where you're trying to get a Champions League place or a European place, you will go and ignore everything you were told at half time just to try and get that goal, to get that 3 points. You know what I mean? Because that could have been such a different game, such a different outcome if we'd have managed to get, that 3 points. That could have set us up. Tails are up, getting into the Hearts game. Now we've got to go to the well again. Danny Rose got to lift the team again, and these players have got to go and once again answer that question next year that's been asked them all season. Have you got the balls to see this through? They just keep, resetting themselves where we go, right, the form's been great since he's taken over with a form team in the league, with the team on form with all the bookies that think we're going to win the league. And then, the first of the five, as I call it, we let ourselves down, mate. We let ourselves down. We gave them a 2-goal start. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Cut that out. See, we cut that out next year. If we cut that out, the outcomes will be so different, mate.
If you keep clean sheets, you'll win. Would have won more games of football? All right, it might not be exciting. But getting back to I think the tactics play a part in the first 2 goals, GB. Yeah, no, the third goal.
No, I know, but I just think overall, like, yeah, either whether it's not, I'm not blaming the manager for the third goal. I'm just saying, like, you should be set up and be smart enough to go like, right, hold on a minute, like, they are being pacey all day. We know how dangerous they are on the break. Why are we just allowing this? I know you're just saying chase the win and stuff like that, but again, it comes either for the captain or the manager to say something, right, just watch what you're doing, make sure we've got somebody at least that can cut this.
You imagine if Connor Barron get that ball 25 yards from their goal and passed it back to Max Aarons with 5 minutes to go, and they passed it along the back to see the game out, Ibrox would have went mental.
No, I know that, but again, you've got to think of the other side that you've got to think of what if it goes wrong as well. I mean, that's where your defenders should be switched on as well. What happens if he's not got if he duffs it like he did? You know what I mean?
I don't know if you can play the game like that, mate. I really don't. He puts the cross in, gets it wrong, by the way. He can't. When he puts that cross in, he's thinking he's putting it in right. He's not putting it in, thinking, "Oh, I'm not putting it in right." The guys that have run into the box have run in hoping to get a chance of scoring a goal. They're not thinking of what's happening after that, mate, because they're trying to win the game of football. The first 2 goals, Port, were outnumbered in the midfield, the right and tappies, and we're all over the place. They're different goals, but the last goal was just emotion.
We're caught with pitch. The first 2 have came from, poor defending, 100%. But as I said, the last one we lost was just into we're going for it, and they caught us on the break. That happens in games, and I can't criticise Rangers for doing that. I can't criticise Rangers for going and trying to finish the game and get that 3 points. I can't criticise them for that next year. because they've countered and they're a quick team. They've proven that under that manager. I've got to admit, I do enjoy that manager's style of football. And they broke on Rangers when we put a lot into the game at that point. Some of our players looked on empty. Oxford, if I'm honest.
Aye. They looked as if there was a few of them looked as if they'd ran their race, mate.
Yep. So I
Aye.
think that played a massive part in them breaking on as where they did, and they finished it. It was a good goal, Oxford. Let's not take it away. I've spoke on the show and I've said openly on the show, and you can the proofs in the pudding with the team of the year that was picked for the PFA. One for Old Firm, one for each side of the Old Firm. Falkirk, Motherwell have been the two surprise, and Hearts obviously have been the three surprise teams who have played excellent football. Oxford, when you've watched them, even though we pumped Falkirk 6-2, they still played some nice football. And even the game at Parkhead, seen the highlights on Sports Scene. When watching that, I seen, even though they beat 3-1, Falkirk play some nice football, Oxford. But it's been a breath of fresh air actually to see them, and that's how I'm saying. I still think there'll be points dropped by Hearts, Celtic, in that top six.
Just go back to
No,
your 11.
exactly. Aye.
Just go back to your 11, GB, and your starting 11. Now that you've had time to reflect, So you've assumed Romans is fit, and I hope he's fit, mate. Yeah, and when I say I hope he's playing, but I hope he's fit. Yeah, two different things. I don't want somebody in the park and then we end up that Romans is going to turn into Dejon Sterling. I don't want to curse him because he's had a couple of injuries and he's only been raised a couple of months. But I hope he's fit and everything's behind him if he's played. Right, so you assume he's fit. You've got Butland, Fernandes, De Giga, and Romans. Who did you put it right back, GB?
I thought Tav just because it looked as though Sterling was out again, wasn't he?
Maybe, mate. Maybe. If Sterling was fit, what would you do?
I'd play him. I'd play Sterling.
I thought he was poor at the weekend, but I don't disagree with you. Right, so what were you thinking in midfield now that you've had time to reflect?
Form, that's the thing, isn't it? There's not really much that I would probably go with Chuche and I'd probably go with Portstein. I'd probably go Barn, Chuche and Raskin, and I would hope that Raskin puts in the shift that he done in the second half against Falkirk, because I felt he was amazing. That's the player that you want to see week in, week out, how he played that second half, Raskin. And that's what we were going to need against Hearts, that kind of, like I say, is driving forward and making good passes, work rate and all the rest of it. That's what we're going to need, Ox. So if we get Raskin doing that, then aye, that's the free for me. And then you're into the forward line. I would go for it, Ox. I would go for it. I'd put Gassama left, Moore right, and Chimete up front.
Oh, 4-3-3.
Mm-hmm.
All right, interesting. I thought Gazzama was also poor at the weekend. I thought he showed a bit of desire in some of the games. The United, Aberdeen, he was okay against Falkirk, as the game went on. But I thought he was poor at the weekend. Poor.
Aye, again, mate, a lot of it for me with Gassama comes down to his decision making. And I've said it before, where's the Gassama that burst onto the scene that didn't want to cut back and chop back and beat the player twice? He got by the player and he whipped the ball in, or he went inside the player and more often than not crawled into tap corner or at bottom corner. When we seen him at the start, mate, and that's why he was getting a lot of clubs looking at him in January, because that's sort of directness what we're seeing. I don't know if it's instruction Oxford. I don't know if he thinks now he's better than he is. A bit of showboating where he's got to chop back on again and beat the player again. He's already beat the player Oxford. Get it in. Give the strikers a chance, because see the minute you reset and chop back, that's Chermiti Miovski or Chermiti and Adiri. That's him marked. So again, somebody has to word in his ear, an experienced player or a manager, and say to him, enough of your showboating, son. We know you've got all the talent in the world. Get by your player and get it in. Give the strikers a chance, because that's when we've seen quality last year. I don't doubt his quality, but I doubt his decision making, and it's frustrating. And I can only imagine playing with him, mate. I'd wring his neck. I would wring his bloody neck. So I would.
Oh, well, I was a guy who got his neck ringed as a youth, mate, did too much.
And a
Yeah,
slide tackle you annoy.
aye, and you were on my team. Yeah, there's nothing worse.
You'd have
as
got
a
one
slide.
warning, Ox,
Aye.
get it in. And the
Aye.
next warning would be me getting through you 2 feet.
But my answer would be that. Do you want it in the middle or do you want it in the net?
Aye, right, okay. I don't care as long as whatever outcome, mate. If you score, I'll hug you and I'll kiss you. If you don't, and you chop back and try and beat your
But
player
there's
again,
nothing
you're
worse.
getting a
Is there?
roasting.
There's nothing
No,
worse.
mate,
Mate,
it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
You
No,
were a more forward thinking player, mate. You know what it's like when you're playing up there, mate, and you're a creator. So you imagine being in there waiting on that, and you're on your toes, you're ready to go. You've made that drive to the front post, or you've made that wee sort of check back to the back post, and then next minute he's cut back on you, and that's the centre half in front of you, and you're marked.
and
That's
the other fullback catches up and he comes in and covers it the other side. Yeah.
exactly, mate.
You know,
Exactly.
aye.
He has to be spoken to about that, mate.
That's what separates. There's a lot of people can do what certain people can do on a football pitch, but that's what separates good players from maybe great players in their position, mate, because they make the right decisions. You know, and they just see that picture. You know what it's like. These guys, the top guys that you play with, you played with, who are just they just see it. They don't seem to do anything different. And then you go, he just put that cross in early and somebody scored. I think that's simple. It's only because he'd done it just at the right time. And it's the
Aye.
people who've got that gift that become better and greater players and move up. You know, and Gisama's he's actually regressed as the season's gone on. His form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my best examples is the late great David Cooper Ox. Yeah. Watched the guy in my childhood into my teens, and I knew what that guy was going to do before he did. He had the same move. He had that trick, and I think everybody in Scotland knew what he was going to do, no matter the calibre he played against. But his timing next year, his timing of when he made the delivery into the box, always found a Heed or a McCoist, a Haitley, whatever it may be, whoever the players that he was playing with. And that, as you're talking about, when it comes to stature of player, to know when to get it in, when to deliver, or if Cooper cut in and just pile drive into the top corner, that's what separates the levels of here. And as I said, you'll remember this better than me. David Cooper, in your thought, you'd have been like, oh, I can't wait to play against him at fullback. I know exactly what he's going to do, but he had that split second that you need at that level. No matter, what you knew he was going to do next year, David Cooper just ripped players apart and scored some wonderful goals because he was always at that level above.
It wasn't that prolific, the Coop, but
No, but
you
yeah,
know,
what I
and
mean,
also,
don't you? He
and
scored.
also
It was a great.
part of the game at pro level is doing the right thing for the team. You know, and
Yeah,
some of your decision making, GB has been poor as a team. Right, what tune do you fancy tonight, GB? Have you got any thoughts?
Step up and play.
Step up and play. That would be a great idea, wouldn't it? Port, any thoughts?
I would love that version of the Bangers and Mash that I had the other night. That was amazing.
I think that's going to be in Foxy's new album, mate. I think he's looking to take it out
Oh,
Ibiza. He's looking to take it out
mate.
Ibiza this summer. The Foxes, yeah.
It's one of my favourite tunes anyway, right? But see that version that I had the other night, and I'm going to get my man, Fox or Old School, to send it to me. It was excellent, and it was well received, by the way, in my socials.
All right, you never know what Fox is going to be, so get yourself a
No.
mute, because we're going to have a tune.
I hear the Tigs are cheating. I hear they run the GCC. I hear the titles are tainted. And I hear they pay the SFA. Because we're Brits and true, and we're Rangers through and through. We all knew, Big Jock knew. I hear they try to hide the story. I hear to this day they still deny. I hear it's swept beneath the carpet. We all know the Tigs were born a lie. Because we're Brits and true, and we're Rangers through and through. We all knew, Big Jock knew. Tell your story, then maybe you'll sleep at night. Why don't they pay the victims money? But then I don't suppose that's right. Because we're Brits and true, and we're Rangers through and through. We all knew, Big Jock knew. Because we're Brits and true, and we're Rangers through and through. We all knew, Big Jock knew.
While you are sitting listening on your own, why not take part and give us a phone? We would love to hear your points of view, so get off your bum and call 0141 356 1972.
An old Rangers Radio classic there from the Fox. Or Boswell. Done that as a production, mate. Yeah. Come back a few years now.
Number one hit, Ox.
It was at the time, mate. It was at the time. It was at the time, yes. Look, we need to go and win on Saturday, Sunday, Monday even, yeah. Monday night, tea time. I know it's bank holiday weekend. Come on. Who's kidding who? Yeah, it's poor, innit? It's shocking, innit?
Oh,
That's that fair supercomputer, is it not? That one is dead fair, it's a supercomputer.
No, that was Sky TV, mate. That's what that was.
Oh,
mate.
was it? Aye, well.
Aye,
Brumby.
yeah, 5 o'clock,
Wonder who-
5:30, whatever time
yeah.
it is, Monday night, mate. I don't know.
Let's not make any excuses, boys. It doesn't matter.
I'm not
when
talking
we say
about. I'm
what
not
time.
talking about the players, mate. I'm talking about
Yeah.
fans,
Sorry,
people
yeah,
who
sorry.
travel, people who come
Yeah.
distances for both teams, by the way. Yeah, the game doesn't finish till 7:30, 8 o'clock on a Monday night. I don't understand. But it's maybe
It's the size of the game. I know, sure. It's the size of the game. I mean,
Aye,
this is
it's
a
a big
big,
game.
big,
Aye,
big
but-
game, innit? It's like we're talking, you know,
Big game.
probably
I know
talking.
I know the English teams play every Monday night, but at least they've got the compensation, a magnificent package. GB, a bit like yourself. Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah.
Dollar bills. That Ox, you're right. And see, the thing is, they don't think about like the general public as well, right? So most folk are probably going to be off this bank holiday weekend and have the Monday off, right? So You could have a lot of folk out on the Saturday watching the football, out for their dinner, pints or whatever after it, and they've still got a long weekend to themselves. Even if they'd done it Sunday, you probably see the pubs would be all full, TVs would be on, the viewing would probably be even higher than what it's going to be on Monday night. And yet they decide to fire it on a Monday night. Folk will then be thinking about work the next day as well, so they can't go and have a proper bevy and all that. And then it's the travel and all that as well, there and back. So it just kind of dampens that a bit. I mean, I know it's when the fans are there and all the rest of that's nobody's going to be thinking about that, or we've got to be thinking about is a win. But just honestly, God, like, see, sometimes you just wonder who actually comes up with this and thinks that's a good idea, especially when it's all about viewing figures, Ox. Because, like you say, it's not about the money; it's about the views. And I think even the Sunday would have been able to smash any viewing figures they wanted, especially with that size of game.
I don't know, mate. There might be a lot of people still in the house, and the viewing figures might be not affected. But I'm talking about the people who the revolve their life around the supporters as a club. It's also a bank holiday Monday. Yeah, and what I'm saying is, I can understand that if you're well compensated, the clubs in Scotland, but they're getting messed about for peanuts, peanuts.
Aye, and that's what I was getting at. You know what I mean? The game for me is a spectacle next year, and you know a lot of people I think quite been put there it's Rangers v Hearts, but the league this year has been it's raised a few eyebrows next year. Like I said earlier on, I know Rangers and Celtic have been half it right, and I know that, but Motherwell, Falkirk, Hearts have came to the fore. You know, and really put a challenge in. Nobody expected Motherwell or Falkirk to win that top six Oxy. I don't care what anybody says. But what we've shown that you know, for alleged Farmers League, it's produced some nice footballing teams this year, Ox. And all right, maybe Rangers and Celtic have been part of the level of football we're used to seeing, but it's been a breath of fresh air for me, Ox, year, and I would like to see even next year, further to the party, I'd like to see a strong Aberdeen. I'd like to see a strong Dundee United as well. And also Dundee, even they've played some nice football this season as well. I'd like to see the league continuing, you know, the product of it to make it a league that's not just a two-horse race. And, you know, if we can change the format of the league, you know, in a way that we're not playing each other 4 times a league. I know Sky wanting the 4 for them, and I get that, Oxford, right? But the way the league's turned out this season and the quality we've seen on the pitch with some of the so-called lesser teams, Oxford, this can only be good for the Scottish game. And I look at it as a whole. And if it becomes a better spectacle all round, then maybe we can go in Sky and renegotiate, you know, the amount we get for them, you know, because the league's a better league to watch. You know, because down there they just think it's just Rangers and Celtic, just Rangers and Celtic. That's what they're getting. All you're interested in is the 4 Old Firm games. That's where the money's coming from. But how good would it be, guys, if there was 5 or 6 teams involved in a dogfight every season? You know, it's only going to benefit Scottish football, guys.
I think I've got a funny feeling. I'm not going to back this up, mate. I think the TV deals have maybe reached a peak. They might go up in value, the actual pounds, shillings and pence, but whether they'll be worth as much, I think viewing figures, we're a small country with a big club in it. Yeah, us who create most of the figures. Yeah, it's been proven by the numbers. You've seen it when we disappeared out of the league. And what happened? They had to rebrand their league within months, mate. They had to renegotiate because the team in the 3rd division was getting bigger viewing figures than them. But that prove it. It's fact, mate. Yeah. We've no
Well, can I ask you and Gary a wee question, mate? If that's all right. Would you be opposed to a 16-team league? And the teams I'm going to talk about here, which I think are still.
Would it work? How would it work? 16.
Right, 16-team league, just the usual, you know, your top 2 or your Champions League 2 and your bottom 2. Just simple, Oxford. Just simple. I'm going to simplify the game here. the bottom two have a relegation playoff against the team in the championship. Because there is, in my opinion, still big teams out there that could play in the
But
Scottish
how's it
League if
work,
the
mate?
finances were there.
How many? You're only going to play 30 games a season.
Right, so 18 teams in. Do you not
That's only-
believe there's a do you not believe there's enough teams in the Scottish League to make it, you know, an
How's
8
that
or
going to work?
18 or
That
a
should
20?
be 34 games a season.
Right, my maths is not good as yours. My maths isn't as good as yours. So many teams do we need. But what I'm getting at here is there's teams like Partick Thistle, Dunfermline.
We had that debate the other night, mate.
Oh, did you?
And all
I
Bears pointed
apologise.
out to me, mate. There's a lot more to sort out than that, mate. He gave me a right telling half a day, mate. You know, when
Aye,
he tells you after
probably right.
help, you know. But look, if you want that, mate, for me, you go 20-team league and you try and develop them and you play just home and away. I think it's going to be better than this 4 times a season. That's just me.
Right.
Yeah,
Aye,
but
no, well, you're the maths genius, mate. That's what I would like to. That's the sort of thing I would
it
like
gives
to
you the
see.
exact same figures. But as Albert pointed out, and he did tell me, he told me today, no uncertain terms, there's a lot more wrong with Scottish football than that, and I struggled to disagree with him. Plus the fact that he smacked me about the face at the time, but that's another story, GB.
Just to go on to Port's point though, like see, you're talking about the league and making it better and all that. Like my concern is this season that we have invested in stuff like that, and I know that it's been a very up and down season for us, and we've changed manager and all the rest of it. But when you look at like say Hearts and stuff like that, this is kind of the first time that they've actually flexed a bit, and they've got a solid team together. It looks as though they're not scared to invest as well. We've talked about Motherwell the night. We've seen how Falkirk's performing. Them across the city again, they're going to have to do changes come the summer as well. Like my concern is that we better keep moving. What I'm saying is with the times, we better keep reinvesting and making sure that we are getting the best talent into the squad, or else there is a worry there that we could get left behind, because what it says, we're saying that like we're in a dog race between another 2 teams. But it's not to say, like Port says, that the other teams start getting close to us as well. I think Wanye said the other night there that was it Dundee United or something like that, or Falkirk? Somebody faced Crystal Palace or something like that on loan, and I've heard like Brentford and all that players coming up on loan and stuff. So it's not just us anymore that can go and get Premier League players on loan. And I think what it says, we do need to be switched on to this, because whatever happens at the end of the season, we've got to look to be strengthening and be strong next season.
There's going to be a lot of changes in the personnel squad. Obviously, you've got Cornelius, you've got De Giga, you've got Aarons, you've got Magoma, you've got Moore, you've got Scove Olsen. I hope have I missed any out? There's 6 players on loan. You don't know if any of them will be back, if any of them. So there's 6 people you have to replace in the squad before you start. And we could have some people leave because they want to play more football. And there could be people leave because we get offers we can't refuse. So there could be turnover of players at the summer. You know, and I think that's just modern football you have to deal with. Tam's going to go. Who else is? Ben Davis's contract is up. I think Leon King's is up. I know there are no ways, but there you go. There's wages of you're quickly getting to a dozen players is going to be disappearing. The wages as well, which some will be a good thing.
So
And that's not
What?
Sorry, Ox.
Sorry, mate. No, I'm saying that's the fear. Like we're having to bring in a lot of other players again and hope that
You're going to have to,
we never seem to get that luck. Like say Motherwell, look at Motherwell. They've brought in players left, right, and centre and be able to have a settled squad. You know what I mean? We don't get that luck.
Sorry, guys.
But if we'd have beat Motherwell at the weekend there, they'd have took 1 point, I believe, out of 18.
I've struggled against them all season. You know what I mean?
I couldn't agree more, mate. I couldn't agree more. I think we talk about the game Ibrox there. Arguably, when we get it back to 2 each, we should go on and win it. But the game at their place, mate, the second game, mate, they were further ahead of us than we were. I'm not taking that away from them. I'm saying that arguably the best football team in the country, but some of their players will leave because a lot of them will be on, there'll be some on loan and some of their contracts will finish, and if they're done well, they'll get offers that Motherwell can't match. What?
I totally agree. They've been my pick of the season. Them and Falkirk's been my both picks. And inevitably, when you get players that are punching above their weight and they're playing for Motherwell or Falkirk's, and it's no disrespect, like I'm going to use your boy Elijah just as an example. You're not just telling me it's Rangers and Celtic is looking at this boy next year. There'll be teams in the Championship probably looking at that boy that can offer him, a king's ransom to take him down there. There's a boy Slattery, like I said, there's a boy Watt. There's the left back, there's a striker, the top goal scorer, Malawishi. So it's inevitable that the team will get ripped apart. That's a fact, and I'm pretty sure next year, I'm 99.9% sure their players are all Motherwell loan players, so they'll get decent candy. Falkirk, on the other hand, have got players for Bournemouth, they've got a left back for Crystal Palace, so they have who've done very well. They've got a striker at Dundee. I can't remember who he's on loan from, but he's got like some 11 goals in his first season. He's only 19 in Scotland. But he comes from a Championship squad, mate. So, like Gary says, the other Scottish teams are touching in on similar sort of targets that we were having a look at. What we forgot to mention in regards to the loan players and the players that that are coming to end their contracts at Rangers. But there's a couple of players next year, guys, that can go to the World Cup, and I'm going to say Fernandes and Raskin. And they might go there and have absolute outstanding World Cups. And, there are other figures getting branded about for both of them, but we might find where we don't have, it's like a Calvin Bassey choice, isn't it? We'll be offered money, guys.
If the money's right, mate. If the
Aye,
money's
that we kind of refuse. So there you go. There's another two to the, I think, nearly 10 next year you mentioned there.
Is it? I mean, obviously they know about the loan players. They know about the loan players, GB. So we'll see where it takes us. But it'd be good to hear what people think of the different teams for the weekend, mate. And would you go? Have we sort of discounted the two up front? Are you not going to go with that? Is that down to the one performance, or is it because we're short of numbers, GB, and you want to have another striker on your bench in case you need to refresh the one that's up front?
I think it's just Ox, but I agree. I heard you the other night there, mate, and Miovski done nothing wrong the other day. He put in a shift. It was just, again, the service was just rubbish for him. And he's proved that he can be up there with you, mate, because that Falkirk game, this is when he came on. I says, the two of them, I was like, God, the two of them will finally click together. And I thought that was going to be quite and then when I seen the two of them starting, I was like, that's good. It's good we're running with that. Sod's Law, that's his backfires and he's taking off. But I don't think it was any fault his own, to be honest, Ox. I just think there was, like I says, there wasn't any service and he was trying to obviously change the game.
Aye. And ultimately the manager go to right all the time. He go to right. Aye, because, we got back into the game, we looked as if we were going to win it, but we didn't. But so then you argue that he didn't ultimately get it right because he never went on the winning game. But let's say it affected the second half in a positive manner. Does that sound better, Port?
He often does, but that's one thing we done real kudos for when the times have been tough and it's been my big bugbear all season about us playing 90 minutes. I still don't think we've played 70 minutes. When one thing he seems to do, mate, is get a reaction for a team at half time. Usually, more often than not, it gets the win, but it at least gets a point back. So it does earn his trust, mate, when the team's not played well in the first half and whatever talk he has with them. And I don't think he's a shouter. I think he's one of these sort of guys that'll explain tactics, boards, etc. But He certainly earned his crust at half time, mate. But I don't want that to be the case, mate. I want them to get into a half time team talk where
more of the same,
he's saying
lads, more of the
consolidate.
same.
Aye, exactly, mate. That would be great. That'd be great. And imagine the lift it would give the team, getting in there a bit more relaxed, sitting 2-zip up, Yorks, you've played the game, mate. You know what it's like when you give me your tails up. The dressing room's a completely different place. More often than not, I think they're on there shouting and bawling at each other and, going, what is going on, guys? We're better than this. We're better than this. And then they hear the booze at half time. How good would it be not to get him and be booed off the park at half time for the first half?
Aye, and you're right, that's the last 2 games, mate. Whether you like it
Yeah.
or not, Falkirk and
Yeah.
Murrable, aye. So there is something wrong. Maybe they should have the cocoa before the first half and not at half time. By the way, just for the record, I did play the game, but very badly, mate. Very badly.
Aye.
But listen, it's a massive game. We want to put pressure on these other teams and get them thinking, and then get myself back in it and see where it takes us. But we've got to win. There's no room for error, GB.
No, this is proper cup finals now, Ox, isn't it? I mean, I know the manager's banged on about it quite a bit, but we are now in kind of that mode where it's win or bust now every game. Unless, let's say, some other miracle that the other two start collapsing, but they've looked, Hearts have looked pretty solid, to be honest. So, as it's win or bust now, it's definitely cup final time. Ox, we've got 90 minutes to win the game, and to be honest, like I said at the start of the show, I've got no fear against it. I think we've got their number. I mean, I think we've got their number. I think we've got Across the City's number as well when we've got our proper players ready. It's us getting ourselves back in that position, and then that's just taking that leap, taking the league by the scruff of the neck, and just going on and winning it, Ox. That's the bit I want to see for the team. And once I see that, then I'll have full confidence in them. But I've got full confidence that we can go out and match Hearts, no bother, on Monday. I do feel we've got a better team, to be honest. I know that they've got these guys in their team like say Braga and Shankland that can make a go out of nothing, and they've got a proper solid defence and stuff. But we've shown that we can hurt them, and let's face it, the game where at home with Shankland, Hornball and stuff like that, it was absolutely rubbish. We kind of gave them that game that day as well. So it just shows you when we can turn it on, that's what the kind of result you get at home when we go and absolutely smash them. You know what I mean? And they were shell shocked that day, by the way. I think they came in with a bit swagger, Ibrox, that day, thinking if we'll be able to handle them, no bother. And I think that we kind of showed up and showed that we're not going away. You know what I mean? But it says it's just that again we can't start the way we've been starting recently. It says and just allowing them to come into the game. Saying that though, like we allowed Hearts into that game and we came back into it and controlled it the last game. You know what I mean? So that's why they're so bipolar. We can't put our finger on it. Like you says, it's for winning halves.
A bipolar team. That's a good way of describing it, mate.
Yeah.
Even against Hearts, mate. Even against Hearts, we went 2-1 down, mate. Yeah.
And came back and scuffed them.
I get the frustration. We've got to start well because it's a bad habit to be in Port, isn't it?
Aye, horrendous, mate. Absolutely horrendous. The next 2 games, in my opinion, Oxford, they're all important, right? They're all important. But like GB touched on, and I agree with him, we've showed the last game at Ibrox. I know what Tynecastle, but we showed the last game at Ibrox when we ripped them apart. Even when we went behind, we showed character, we showed endeavour, we showed fight, we showed this. Everything we always talk about on the show. You put a massive dent in there, title running, and but they're the ones still looking over their shoulder. The bubble's finally burst, etc. And then you go to Castle Grayskull, and then again you turn them over there, and all of a sudden you beat the top 2 Ox here. You've done it. You beat the top 2, and then we go to Falkirk and have a party. that's it, Ox, yeah.
Well, we've still
These
got
are
to
the
play Hibs
important
on the
games.
Wednesday night, mate. Still
I was
got to play
taking
Hibs.
care of them, mate. I don't like them. I hate them. So
But maybe
I
that's
just
the problem, mate. Maybe that's the problem. They look too far
complacency.
ahead.
No, I get that. Right, I get that. I'll take that back. But you understand what I'm getting to with the next two. The next two for me are mega.
You have to. The second one means, well, obviously it's against them, but you have to win on Monday. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. Oh, that's it.
It's as simple as that.
It'll give the confidence back, Ox. I think if we have a decent result, then it will hopefully springboard them again into a run. We've seen that when they've kind of took a hurting a bit, that they've actually came back a lot better and went on a run. And what better time to do it? You know what I mean, go and beat Hearts and then go on a run, and then watch the rest of them hopefully flounder a bit. You know what I mean? Because that will shake Hearts a bit. They'll be a bit like, oh Christ, no, the other two are right on us now. You know what I mean? That's the only bad thing. We're if we do win, we're helping another team, but we just then have to go out and do our job the following game, make sure that's put to bed, and then after that, for me, Ox, then it becomes a 2-horse race kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's but that's where we need to really show that we can't do the Motherwells, we can't do the Falkirk in the Livingston moments. We've got to just go and grab it. I don't think we'll ever get another chance at it if we don't. And I think we're good enough. It'll be a massive disappointment that we don't go and grab it on Monday. But I says if we don't, then I'm not going to be falling out with the manager or anything like that. There's time for him. He's like you say, the stats have proven for him, Ox. And
He'll get a lot of criticism. Any Rangers manager loses a game, he gets criticism. But he'll have the summer, build his own team.
Yep.
You know, dozen players coming in. All the work will be done. There'll be offers out there already. They'll be looking at players. They'll be looking at who's out of contract. Depending who's good, they'll be looking how much money they've got to spend. I'm sure Danny Rowe and his squad, because he was in taffy at along with Andrew Kavanagh at the New Year transfer window. I'm sure they'll be over it again, mate. And they'll bring in players, and some of them will know, and some of them will know. You know, because if this guy stays fit, I think we've got a star in our hand in Romans, and we've got another asset in our hands in the Deary. If he stays fit, I'm not saying he's going to be a star, but we've got another asset. So if they keep bringing players in, it's going to improve our team, and then our squad will be going in the right direction. But none of that will matter, because all that matters for the next few weeks, Port Bear, is these games and winning on Monday night.
Aye, it's to coin a phrase, the famous Bridgeman. The next game is the most important game. Look no further than that. Look no further than that. Let's just tick them off. I know I'm contradicting myself, but let's just tick it off, get that victory under my belt, and then see what it takes us, and we move no further than that. And I think that's probably the best sort of, way to take these games on. Is I was already starting to look at the 5 for the Motherwell game Ox year, and I just thought I had this feeling in my gut, that beat Motherwell and beat Hearts, and I felt we were well on my way. And then obviously Motherwell happened, and that sort of gave me a reset to say, right, Port, there is, these teams are better than, not better than I think Oxford, because I know they play quality football, but these will be tough games. And like I said, I still believe each of the top 6 will take points off each other, because I think on their day, they're all capable of taking points off each other, Ox.
Oh, hopefully.
Where's your confidence levels at, Ox? Ox, you there?
You ran away.
Where's your confidence levels at Port? Are you like me a wee bit like that? We've got nothing to worry about with Hearts, because The evidence shows that we shouldn't, because we absolutely smashed them in the last game.
Hearts, yeah, and I totally agree with you in terms of, the Moonhowlers, because I just think Will's got their number, mate. I think he's definitely got, tactically, he's got their number. So I think the two games will take care of themselves. As massively important as they are, that's the ones where I feel confident, mate. I was 50-50 with Motherwell and confidence levels. I'm not particularly looking forward to going to Falkirk last game, and then we've obviously got like Ox says about the game against Hibs. That won't be a gimme, mate. I'm just hoping they're just not that they will. I'm just hoping they're just not want Hearts winning that league, so they'll lie down to us and say, "No, we're not wanting Hearts to win it." You know what I mean? So they don't want them to win it as much as we don't. But again, another tough game. They were leading that game and playing well until they get the man sent off. You know what I mean? So, like I said, mate, I still think there's going to be a lot of twists and turns in this league, and you'll see your Motherwell, your Falkirks possibly taking points off of the Watery Farts, and possibly Celtic as well, mate. Because Motherwell are still fighting for that European spot. So are Falkirk. Hearts are in there. Hibs are in there about it as well. So it's not like they've all got nothing to play for. They've all got something to play for, GB. And that's the worrying part, because it'd be different if they were all out it and they were just playing for their pride and trying to finish as high as they can in the league. But the top six have all got something to play for, mate. And when you got something to play for, Motherwell showed that at the weekend, mate. They're trying to finish in a European spot, mate, because it's money to them. You know what I mean? Because you know what happens, mate? These teams do it every year. You've spoke to me about this 100 times. It's been frustrating you in the transfer market. How can these teams get ripped apart every year? But the following year, they don't seem to be any weaker. Sometimes they're stronger. You said that to me, mate, at work. You know what I mean?
And we seem to rebuild, and we need 6 months to settle in.
Yeah, that's exactly the conversation we've had in the van, mate. You're right. You're bang on.
You need a bit of luck with signings, mate. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened there with my internet, but you need a bit of luck, And obviously, first of all, you hope they stay fit, and obviously, their Dairy had a kick, and Romans. I don't know if it's the same injury. They've not really said a lot, but you hit the ground running. And if you look back in the summer, mate, we were all over the place, and you've got to get it right. We've got to improve. And you could say that was all down to the previous regime. Hopefully it was, and we're a lot better this summer. Porter.
Aye. So on that end, Oxshire, you remember where Mr. Kavanagh had mentioned that they're not going to go ahead with the sporting director sort of route anymore. And then obviously Roll and the two boys that were involved with bringing in Nadiri and Romans. So they're trying a different sort of style of scouting and looking at players. So as you said, always you need a bit of luck in signings, you need to stay injury free. Are you guys preferring, or are you happy to for the current scouts and scouting team along with Danny Rowe to continue with the player search, judging what you've seen for the signings over the winter period there?
Well, if he brings in people to the calibre of Romans in the football team, mate, to improve us in every position, and I've scouted them, we'll have a decent side next year. But they're no every signing is going to work out like that. But they seem to know what they're doing. All of a sudden, in January there, we got a lot right. Yeah, we also moved on. We also moved on some players that needed moved on that had fleeced us. You had Matondo, you had the boy went to Hull. I forgot his name already. So we'll see what it takes us, mate. I accept that all players are a gamble, mate. Especially if they're coming from a different country, they've got to settle in and they've got to get used to their players and whether they go on well in the dressing room, they acclimatise to the regime. Everything. Modern players are a different gravy, as you would say, Port. You need a bit of luck, and obviously, if you get a good start and people have been successful, it helps. When we started last summer, GB, the wheels just came off, didn't they?
Yep. Well, as we've touched on, Ox, that first game away to Motherwell, it was horrific. It just showed that we were still sitting with the flip-flops on the beach. Well, Motherwell looked as though they'd been playing for about 10 years together. I mean, and that was the frustration that kicked in then, knowing that they had a new manager, rebuild and all the rest of it, and yet our manager kind of turned up and produced that kind of football in one game. You know what I mean? So that's where we're probably getting at, Ox, that we've got to be ready, and I do think this is the manager will be. I've got probably every trust in that. I just hope that the focus on the positions, Ox, that's hindered us for many a season now. The Asgard position and the Scott Olsen position, they're the two main positions that we need to address, and we need proper creative players in there. The left and the right wing, the left wing usually takes care of itself. We've usually got somebody that can do a job in there, and they're not too bad. But that Asgard kind of in front of the midfield position, 10, 8, whatever it is, and then that right side wing, they're the two Achilles heels for us now. See if we had two solid guys that were probably like Mikey Moore in there in these positions, we'd win this league, no bother.
Aye, I mean, Asgard and Scove Olsen, there's no doubt they've got ability. No doubt they've got ability. You know, but you need cojones and all, and you need a work rate. The two of them, the piece of the shown. But the funny thing about Asgard, I think his best performance for us was up in a miserable Pitaudry when he played in the 4-3-3, mate. I thought that was his best performance for us. And he's had brilliant moments. The goal against Dundee United was outstanding. His free kick in the cup tie was outstanding. But you also need a level of desire and consistency, Porter.
Aye, a team like ours, mate, you can't show it in flashes. Consistency is key. You have to show that week in, week out, especially if you want to stay in the team. And number one, especially if you want to win league titles. Now, I have no doubt whatsoever these guys came to our club, like Sierra Asgards, Scott Wilson, etc., to win titles because they thought, right, we're career stalled. I can go to a massive club like Rangers who can offer European football and maybe try and re-kick my career. And if it all works well, they can stay up. See, it's not guaranteed. I'm saying everybody's going to use Rangers as a stepping stone. But if that happens and we get big money, then I think we have to be realistic and realise that we are a selling club. We're not going to keep absolutely everybody. But you might get that one player who is like, loves it that much, happy winning everything there is, happy he's in European football every year, and therefore he's quite happy to stay at your club. But this is the thing with players, and at any level, Oxford, that has to be your drive. That has to be your the first thing when you wake up in the morning, you're driving into training. It has to be, I want to win. I want to win in training. I want to win a five-a-side game. I want to win my drills. This is the sort of attitude I had, mate. I wanted to win absolutely everything. And I told you before, I wasn't the fancy Dan. I wasn't that guy. But I gave everything for the cause, and that's all I ever ask for any player, no matter what level you're playing at. And when I'm watching the team I love, that's the bare minimum that I expect to see for them. And sometimes I don't see it, especially when it comes to the track side of the game.
Port, you had the John Travolta
I
suit
think
though.
Mr. Fox is coming in, boys. Mr. Fox.
I saw it, yeah.
Oh. Are you coming in with your team, Foxy boy? I think you come off a mute there. But he has sent us what his
Alright.
team would be for I keep saying Sunday, Monday night. Yeah, his team would be Butland, De Giga, Suter, Fernandez. In front of them, Romans, Tav, Chokwani, and Raskin. In front of them, Mikey Moore and Dio, and Big Chermity up front. There you go. There's Fox's team, Port.
Not a criticism. I'm looking at his wee. I like his wee sort of tactical board here. Again, I think we could go overrun with Hearts because they'll play Devlin, they'll play. I can't remember the other boy, but they'll play a three in there. So she expect is Fox going to say Dio will drop in at times to help that midfield three because they will definitely play a three in there, mate. They have done all season. They're playing a sitter and then two. Needing off the Austrian boy, they'll play him in there as well. That's the one. So that's my only concern with that. I have no qualms. I would never question Fox. I understand why he wants to have in the team for his obviously attacking, his throw-ins, his delivery, etc. But to me, I'd be worried about the midfield in there, mate, getting overrun. But it's not a criticism. Obviously, it's an opinionated show. But that two in there, if they're strict and they're sitting two, and we're what's going to come from our fullbacks, then I can see how it works, mate.
GB.
I'm like we say that your fullbacks are going to be having to do the work, but I've no doubt if you've got a fit Stirling and you've got a fit Romans that they can do that. Ox, the two of them are powerhouses. You know what I mean? So if it all works, if it all clicks, then aye, that's fine. To be honest, Dio's again in big games can turn up. Dio's got that kind of wee bit of flair sometimes in him in these big games.
He done okay. I thought he done okay in the second half. I thought he was one of our better players in the second half.
Aye, 100%. He's always tidy on the box, but sometimes, like you say, he's got this kind of moment in him where he goes to sleep sometimes, or he falls out of games, and that's why he's fell out of the team.
No, he's not the best passer in the ball I've ever seen.
No. But it's strange, isn't it? See, when they first signed him, he got that goal. We all thought they were like, hey, at last we've got somebody, attacking midfielder. And that he scored that goal, he's not done really anything since with that. With his attacking threats, you know what I mean? He's set up goals and stuff like that, but again, that we always seem to get that kind of player. We're like, oh God, it's the same with Gassama, as we touched on earlier. Gets the goals and you're like, oh my God, we've stole a player here. And the next minute, he's hot and cold for about 10 games.
I know. Consistency you need.
What's your team, Ox? Out of curiosity, how would you play and how would your setup be, mate, if you don't mind me asking?
Obviously, if Romans is fit, Roman starts, and I want him to be fit. You've got to be fair in the boy, and you've got to be fair in everybody else. So if I assume Stirling's also fit, I go with them as a back four with De Giga and Fernandez, and that's where I would go with. Their form's not been great neither, in my opinion. They've done okay at moments, but we've lost a lot of goals, and they're the centre halves, the pivots in defence. I would play with three in the middle. I would think we'd play with three, as I said, teammate, and then I would go with Moore wide, and then you're saying, right, who do you go with on that right hand side, mate? And I don't think the gas man deserves to get in the team. So that becomes that problem position, the GB position. Do you try Diamande there, mate? Will he go with the runners? Will we switched on if you play Barron and Chokwani with Raskin in a more freer role? You know, so that right hand side position is the one that's given me thoughts, because I would sort of play a 4-3-3 or a 4-5-1 out of possession, mate, and try and not get overrun in that midfield, as you rightly said. but the right-hand side is really up for debate. And I'm not bringing in Scott Wilson, and I'm not playing Asgard, and I don't like Gassama there, even though he's done okay prior to the Motherwell game, but I thought he was stinking at the weekend, mate. He wasn't the worst, but he wasn't far behind. So that is my real concern, who to put in there, mate.
So what if I says to you, and I know we've had this debate before, and me and you've got the same opinion on it in regards to if Sterling's fit at right back, would there be a massive problem? And he's only got a few games left at Rangers, letting James Tavernier play as that right-sided player. And the reason I'm saying it, mate, is because like I've said, and you've debated it, you agreed with me when I debated it with you. It's different when you're running for deep. So Tav's running from deep from fullback. So the defender he's up against doesn't really pay much attention because he's too busy watching who's in front of him as at the right mid. But could Tav play in front of Sterling? Would that be something both of you would have a look at?
I've not liked the idea before, so I would be putting my argument in the foot, but I don't know. I don't think he'd play Scott Wilson. He might. You don't know. I don't think he might play Gassama. Yeah, he might. Or play Ant-Man. I don't think so, even though that's his position. Well, seems to be his position. I don't know, mate. I really no wanted to see Tav in midfield, mate. I never thought that was his position, mate. People.
No, I'm the same.
People would argue.
I'm the same. It was just as an option
Mhm.
because it's been a problem. The GB position, as we call it. You know what I mean? But as the games are closed in, I'm thinking from his attacking. His delivery there, his throw-ins, free kick ability. He is a guy that's produced for these moments. If you need that, you just that wee bit of extra 10% of quality. Good to have, what does it say to Scott Wilson? What does it say to Ant-Man? Right enough, but could to have be the guy to play in front of Sterling. You know what I mean? Interesting to see what GB would say on it.
GB.
I think I totally forgot about Ant-Man. But it's a no bad shout. He had an alright game for the minutes he got on for Falkirk. You know what I mean?
Oh, come on, mate. He was only parked for about 5 minutes. All right, he made one of the goals with his nice one, but come on.
I don't like his start stocks. He does his start. I would go. I think the manager will go Asgard. He probably will go Asgard. But I would just go for it. I would have my two most attacking threats on the wings, which is Gassama, where he's more deadlier on the left, and I'd have Moore on the right, where that boy can technically play anywhere. You know what I mean? And I think he would do a better job in there than Scott Wilson and Gassama and Ant-Man put into that as well. So I think, like I says, it's no fair on the boy because he's obviously better than the more either central position or out left. But I think for us to try and get the win and to dominate that kind of first half, I would rather we went kind of all guns blazing, and then we can, like you say, bring on Miovski and turn it into the kind of 4-4-2 in the second half if we need to or whatever. You know what I mean?
But just for the last few minutes, my phone's lit up a wee bit. It's rumoured and speculated that this board have upheld a certain club's decision, so that's going to be a lot of debate tomorrow night. Now, it's pure speculation. Nothing's been confirmed, and it's not the first time that things have been rang online. Well, I've not seen anything formal tonight. Yeah, and I've been looking as we've been doing the show, but it's been rumoured and speculated that the decisions went against us. But as a travesty of Scottish football once more. And I'm not going to use the word sporting integrity because it's not the football side of things, but the integrity of the competition has been shot once again by a certain club, if this pans out to be true. Or better.
Aye. If it's what I think you're talking about, tell me to keep them, mate. Tell me to keep them. I just after the debacle when we allowed them in our ground and the mess it was caused, etc. Mate, I would be concerned of the safety, and I think this is the line of they're apparently going to go down, mate. They're saying they can't guarantee the safety of the fans that would be travelling to Castle Grayskull, mate. This is the line they're going down. And if you're doing that line, you and I know it's health and safety, and they can't guarantee the safety of the fans. They'll uphold that, mate. There'll be no fans in there. If
Well,
that's the thing you're talking about.
Maybe that's right. If they can't guarantee the safety, there should be no fans in there. I mean, none whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Look, there's nothing's been confirmed, GB, and I don't want people getting carried away. I've not got any inside track. Yeah, but at the moment, my phone, I'm even away here. But if it pans out to be true, I'm struggling with it, mate. I'm struggling with it.
It's again, that's when ours, like the new chief exec, needs to step up, box, or chairman needs to step up and all the rest of it. And to be honest, Ox, that'll be the end of probably the memories that we've had. That kind of Old Firm that we grew up with the two sets of fans in an Old Firm game. I think that this will be the end of any away fans attending an Old Firm game, because it needs to be. It needs to be fair. Well, you're talking about integrity and all the rest of it. Well, next season then, if that's the case, then it's there'll be no fans invited to our place either. There'll be closed doors. It'll just be Rangers fans again, and they've probably killed off then what was renowned for around the world with the Old Firm thing, where it was the two sets of fans kind of thing. Now, I didn't agree with like it's got to be the full tier that they get and all that carry on, but at least if it was something, then it was still kind of kept that thing that we've grew up with, obviously. But I think, like you says, mate, if that's the decision that's came to the night, mate, then we as a club have just got to stand up to that and turn around and say, well, fair's fair. We'll not be inviting you again back to Ibrox ever again.
It's no fair, mate. That's the point. They played 2 games at Ibrox.
Fair's got to be fair, you mean?
Aye, and that's the problem, mate. That is the problem. Yeah.
Yep.
You know.
But hopefully our players put that in the dressing room walks, and they take the anger of that and go out and absolutely smash that team on that day. You know what I mean?
That's the same as a tifo, mate. The things have gone. Modern players, mate. Tifos. Big AK said it last night. Players are in their zone, mate. Modern footballers are no John Browns, mate. It's a different scenario now, mate. You know, it's a different scenario. So it's a case of watch this space. We're not saying it's true, Port Bear. What we're saying is we've heard a rumour. All right? Aye,
That's it, mate. That's all it is.
I've also heard rumours
Speculation,
about
mate.
GB, but I'm not allowed to say them live on air.
No. That's what after the watershed.
Yeah. That's the XXX GB show.
Aye, as you say, Doc, yeah, all speculation at the moment, but are you surprised?
No, you can see the move coming to the moment it happened, mate. Yeah. The moment it happened. You could see what was coming. I think a lot of people predicted it, yeah.
Aye, well, the words I was getting during the week, that was where, as I said, the narrative was getting spun already, and that was what I was told, mate. And I said, not from anyone in any higher echelons of football, it was just going about people that I speak to that are a lot more than their own arm, and the narrative that was getting spun then was they can't guarantee the safety of the travelling support. And I think...
Well, they're saying, what they said was in their statement was very acute. They wanted to not only say what was happening, who was getting invited, who was getting them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So would David want going forward that we detected anybody if they came to Auckland? The answer would be no, mate. But I'm not saying it's sporting integrity because it's nothing to do with what's been done on the pitch. I'll tell you what it is now. It's the integrity of the competition. They've moved the goalpost again.
100%.
Yes.
100%. And there's a job, can't say too much, mate. And there was, let's just say, the constabulary for a job that was at, and it came up. There were mixed support there, but it was them that talked me about the safety of the fans, and even they believed it was BS. It was just a way, again, to gain an advantage with having no home support. That was what they were. That was the boys that I spoke to, guys that have been to, and you've been to many jobs. GB, you know some of the guys I was talking to, and they were basically saying much along the same lines. They actually had went a bit further than that and says to me the whole Ibrox debacle as well. There was stuff said and briefings made, and some of the staff in the lower levels of Police Scotland had concerns that they weren't prepared for the Rangers and Celtic game at Ibrox, and that proved to be
there you
right with
go.
that.
They were born, mate, and they were one, mate, and the club told them, and I believe there's a lot of traffic for the club before, and telling them what had to be done, and it wasn't done, and they wouldn't listen. Yeah. So that's what it is. But well, I'm sure if it is true, we'll have a debate about it tomorrow night.
Hearts step up, Hawks now.
What's that, mate?
Hearts and the rest of the clubs have got to step up to this as well and call it out. You know what I mean? Because there's Hearts challenging for a title for so many in so many years, and really their chairman should be coming and going like, well, why are they getting that easier? I mean, our fans have to go and suffer that in that kind of environment and all the rest of it. So, like, why should Celtic get it easier?
It's the integrity of the competition.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say this, if they're worried about safety, I've made there. And then it's fine.
Yeah, well said, Ox.
But can it be just us that's calling this out anyway? Because we always looked as though we're the ones that spit in the dummy and all that carry on. I think, like I says, the rest of the Scottish football got to start waking up a bit.
Couldn't agree more, mate. Couldn't agree more. Last word for your good self, Port.
I've enjoyed the debate tonight, guys. Always great going with GB and yourself, Ox. It's been a great wee show, a great wee debate. And, you know, I'm going to go for a wee 3-1 victory over the Jam Tarts, mate, just to finish it off.
I'll take that, mate. I'll take that. Any victory. GB.
Aye, brilliant to be on the night. Good. This is a good couple of topics. Went out of the game and then talked about players and transfers in the future, and then back to the game on Monday night again. So it's been good, Ox. It's definitely, like I say, set it up nicely for the up and coming game, and I think, like I said, we should take confidence in the previous results in these big games. So thanks for having me on, boys, and I'll talk to you soon.
Cheers, mate. Listen, thanks to the two boys for doing the show, Port Bear and GB Fox, and Old School Blue for doing the technicals. This has been Rangers Radio. We'll be back tomorrow night between 8 and 10 talking about all things Rangers. Take it away, Old School Blue.